Today's presentation is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice.
Happy Taco Tuesday, everybody.
Yeah.
And, kind of like the world's on fire right now. Like economically, like things are a bit of a disaster. From stock market to real estate, it seems like everything's kind of imploding all at once, and no one really knows where the bottom is going to be. I think we're in for some turmoil.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be overnight. It's long time turmoil. It's going to be highs and lows and like everything in between, but what I am excited to see is more and more people, we talked about this in the last video, like your mom, family and friends of mine that are kind of like taking their economic power into their own hands and starting to do stuff to protect themselves, right? And I kind of always like to use Canada as a reference point because that's where I'm from, and we still have investments in Canada, but we've been trying to move as much of those investments elsewhere or into other things, like to protect ourselves, and specifically out of cash and into hard assets like real estate and precious metals, and because cash right now is not king, especially if you're a Canadian. I'm going to give you like just a really crude example here, and it may not be down to the penny, but I have a friend of mine that sold a home in Canada maybe a year and a bit ago, a year and a half. And let's say they got like $300,000 they netted out of it after paying their mortgage and all that stuff, and literally just put it in the bank. Okay. So since that time, this is basically, what's happened to them if they didn't do anything with it. And I'm pretty sure it just sat in the bank.
Yeah.
But their world economic buying power has been reduced by about 25%. And that's just by virtue of the Canadian dollar declining against the US dollar and other major world currencies. So their global buying power is down 25%. And let's say in the past year and a half, we've had at least 15% inflation in Canada. They want to tell you it's like 8.5%, but that's a crock of shit. And everyone knows it.
Yeah.
You just got to go shopping and you'll know inflation's not 8%. Yeah. That's just what the government tells you because they want you to feel better.
They're deflating the real inflation.
They're deflating, just by jiggery-pokery with the numbers, right? So you got at least 15%. So your global buying power is down by 25. Your inflation's 15. That's 40%. 40% on 300 grand. That's a $120,000 hit.
Yeah.
Plus the stock market's down.
Right.
40% from the highs, somewhere around there. So you kind of add all these kind of chaotic factors into the mix. People aren't necessarily feeling that good right now, but when you're not feeling good and when you're scared, it's kind of the times to start making some moves to protect yourself, right? And to just go back to hoping and praying that the stock market's going to rebound. I'm sure it's going to in fits and spurts, but the highs are gone.
Yeah.
They're gone, I don't know, for eternity, like nothing's for eternity, but they're gone for many, many years to come, and not just a few. It could be a 15-year downturn, could be a 7-year downturn, could be a 25-year downturn, which Japan went through, for so many years. We've kind of like hit that point where it's just not coming back. So, I'm also very happy for the people that put money into Mexico, with us a year and a half ago, because they're, on our interest-bearing investments, that's 12%. So they basically protected themselves against the inflation. They put the investment into US dollars, so the US dollar has been strong now, and it's going to be strong in the short term, not in the long term. And then those who have bought real estate in Mexico, they've got two good things going for them right now. A strong Mexican Peso and a strong US dollar.
Yeah.
Right? So if you look at the Canadian dollar against the peso, it went like this, right? If you look at the Mexican Peso against the US dollar, it kind of did a little bit of a dip, and then it's been kind of like this. It's just maintaining this strength. It doesn't want to go above a certain point, right? So, or below a certain point in value to the US dollar. So that is a very bullish signal of strength for the Mexican Peso. And it's really difficult to get into all the reasons why, but one of the biggest reasons why is a tighter monetary policy here. They've always been a tight monetary policy. We didn't have 1.5% mortgage rates here. If you lived in Mexico and wanted to get a mortgage, you're paying 9, and now that interest rates have gone up, it's 10.5 or 11.
Yeah.
Right? So in the United States and Canada, we didn't have that. Okay. So those 1 and 2% interest rates is what's caused that whole inflation to happen on real estate, and this massive real estate bubble that you have in that part of North America. Whereas in Mexico, we had this like steady home prices for so long, and we're just getting this bump now. So everyone else is kind of coming down, but we still have this big divergence.
Yeah.
So eventually those divergences gotta come closer together. So I'm like super bullish on continuing to own property in Mexico, because we can still pick up real estate all over the country for a fraction of the price of what you're still paying in Canada and US. So, and obviously this is giving a plug, like we have Still Paul's Cafe and Condos, so that just launched, and we have amazing pre-sale pricing, so reach out to Daniela, because even the pricing that we have on the website, we're going to do something special for the first few buyers just to get a couple sales across the finish line here. But we're going to handle them on a case-by-case basis. So just get your interest into Daniela. Let's sit down and chat and get you into one of those properties where you can start protecting your financial your financial net worth, and also in the future generating some cash flow, which your mom did right now. So she protected herself from an asset perspective by buying that condo in Terra Alta, which we featured last week, and now she's making $1,200 a month.
Yeah.
It's
Well, that's actually
she ain't getting rich.
Yeah, that's my sister's house.
Oh, sorry, I keep saying your mom. Okay, so your sister,
Yes.
but that's the second one she bought.
That's the first one she bought.
Okay, but she's since bought another one.
My mom.
Okay, I'm confused now.
My mom bought a place in Los Amores.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
But she's basically
They did the same thing.
They're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So tomato, potato, right? Yeah. But essentially they had some cash sitting on the sidelines. They put it into real estate here, and it's a very, very strong rental market. It's a very strong real estate market. So while real estate is going down in Canada and the States, real estate's going up in Mexico.
Right.
It's still not a bad time to be buying here if you're buying in for the long run. I think there could be some short-term corrections, but again, those divergences are going to have to close.
And I think a lot of people right now are probably looking at the prices, and they're like, well, I could have, if I would have just bought the house in 2016, 2017, it would have cost X amount.
Right.
And now it's so much more, but that's because that's what it is now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And the divergence is still so high, Paul.
Yeah.
That there's not a lot of downside. Prices aren't astronomical here. They feel high for people who used to look at the cheap Mexican real estate, like you say.
Right.
Because it's not as cheap.
Right.
But it's still affordable.
Yeah.
From a global perspective.
Right.
So that's, like I say to myself, when that crash happened in 2008, man, I was looking at some Toronto real estate, I was looking at some Vancouver real estate, I was looking at some real estate in Napa, but I was all in on a project, and it was really tough for me to make anything work, and I should have made it work.
Right.
Because everyone's had such a big run here. Even though things are kind of collapsing, but we hit the top.
Right.
Right? We hit the long-term top. So buying on weakness in the States and Canada right now is probably not a very smart thing. I'd be still looking at emerging markets, Mexico being one of them. There's a whole, Mexico's not the only one you could be looking at, but this is the one we know.
Yeah.
So this is the one we feel comfortable on.
Right.
And I mean, for those of you who took our 12% investment here in US dollars, you've basically maintained your global buying power, and you've protected yourself against inflation, and it's been a win-win for us and for you. So, but those opportunities are still here. Again, with yours, I think we still have a $50,000 room in Cinco de Mayo, and that one might actually exit pretty soon because we got some people sniffing around to buy the land.
Oh, really?
So all those original investors are going to get paid out probably in short order, because once we sell the land, we'll pay everyone out.
Right.
And even on Paul's Cafe, it is potential. Like if we don't start selling stuff soon, I may get an offer on it, and we may just flip it.
Yeah.
But then all those investors get paid out, right? And then we have some other opportunities that we're looking at, and we just keep rolling money into really good land opportunities.
Right.
Like well-priced land opportunities that can be banked and have room for upside.
Right.
And there's still room to participate with us on that. And also the ranch, that's the other one we have.
Yeah.
Like, own some land. Why is Bill Gates buying all that farmland?
Totally.
And why are they putting all the farmers out of business? with all this these CO2 emission taxes.
Well, and then why do they want all of us to eat bugs?
Yeah.
We could eat tacos.
could
Go to
eat
Mexico and eat some tacos. Right?
And that's how to fight inflation. Well, those are some of the investment things, but the other thing you can do living in Mexico is live economically by going out for tacos, and we'll share the price at the end of this video, and then I really want to do this video on a family of four living in Mexico for under $3,500 a month.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have like a $2,500 to $3,500.
Okay.
I think somewhere there.
Yeah.
Just to show it can, because it's impossible to do that in Calgary, where I'm from. No chance.
Yeah.
Like no chance.
Right. Well, the crazy thing is that I've been telling my family, hey, when are you guys going to move here from California? Just because of how things are going. And it's a good option to kind of have your, almost like a bug out country.
Right.
Like you can just kind of, all right, you know what? If things are getting too, I guess like political where you live, you can come to Mexico.
You can come to Mexico.
And that's something that I really appreciate here, is that at the end of the day, people here are just not as divided.
Right.
And where in Canada and the States, you have that political division, and here you just don't have it. I mean, some people, they bring it with them.
Right.
But you can avoid those people, and you just move right along, right?
And I think they're getting shut down a little bit,
Yeah.
which is frustrating for them, but good for us.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that for me, it's like if we look at what's going on in the world, we're like, you know what? Why don't you come hang out in Mexico for a year, and let the dust settle,
Yeah.
and see what happens,
Yeah.
right?
I like that idea. Let the dust settle,
Yeah.
and don't pressure yourself into buying your dream home or anything like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you can't like potentially invest in something, but just leave your options open.
Right.
Right? And we have had a lot of people actually do that. They just invested in our projects, and they're renting because they don't know yet what they want to do, but at least they got their money working for them.
Right.
Whereas I have another friend who's here, and they're the $300,000 example. They just destroyed 40% of their net worth
Yeah.
by not doing anything with it,
Right.
by leaving it in cash.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Either
investing
buy yourself some metal, or buy
or
yourself a house in Mexico.
do something now. Like, do something. If it's not with us,
Yeah.
just do something.
Yeah. for
Buy
sure.
yourself some silver, buy yourself some real estate. Like, yeah, keep some cash on the sidelines, probably in US dollars and euros right now, and some Mexican pesos. Like,
Yeah.
you can get 9-10% on a 1-year GIC here in Mexico. So if you think about that example, that $300,000 example, let's say they took that out of Canada and put the money here, they'd be up about 15%, I think, because the Mexican peso is up 15% against the Canadian dollar, and they'd be up 10% on the interest.
Yeah.
They'd be up 25% if they just had taken their money from Canada and put it into Mexican pesos. But that's counterintuitive, right?
Right. That feels weird.
That feels weird,
when you're
but
Canadian
you look
or
at the fundamentals of
US
Mexico right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were. Did we forget about our tacos? Huh?
A few moments later.
I hope we kind of also showed that we're all gonna get through this.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul. Like,
That's right.
We're all gonna do just fine. If you're interested, reach out to Daniela at movingtomexico.co, and she'll send you all the information on our latest investments and purchasing opportunities, and we would love to work with you. All right, everybody. On that note, Nos vemos hasta luego and adios desde Bucerias, México.